Hello, this is Lady Boule, and I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. I know there's a lot of concern out there for Adonis, the live streamer, and someone asked me to do an update on this. So I'm going to tell you what we know, what we don't know, and what actually matters. Romanian authorities have not filed formal charges against Adonis, but the investigation is active. The man involved in the confrontation was treated by medics on the scene, but declined hospital transport. Police detained Adonis on suspicion of assault and disturbing public order, and the case is now with the Sector 1 prosecutor's office. There is footage of the physical altercation, but there is not footage of every claim being made online. Some details circulating on social media are unverified, and some are simply speculation, according to this report. So I'm just going to stick to what's confirmed by official sources and reputable reporting. What we don't know yet is equally important. We don't know whether prosecutors will pursue charges. We don't know the timeline for a decision, and we don't know what evidence investigators are prioritizing. And what we continue to hear about foreign law enforcement is that they work at their own pace. They don't work on social media time, and they don't work on American time where you want an answer like the next day. They do things like they do things, and that's what you have to consider when you are in a foreign country. Now, one thing I do believe, because we've seen this play out before, when an American citizen, including a Black American citizen, gets involved in something like this in a foreign country, the U.S. Embassy is notified. And they pretty much gonna do it right. They might hold him there longer than what we would want him to be, but they're gonna do it right. And I don't believe that his rights will be jeopardized in any way because he is a foreigner in that country, because we have good diplomatic relations with Romania. But it's just a process that's going to have to take its time. And I don't think we need to amp it up on social media by saying they're being racist against him or they're doing this, that, or the other. He's been over there all that time with those people. So that's a decision that he made. So they have to do things the way they do things. Now, that's the way I see it. Now, what this case has become is a flashpoint in a larger conversation about foreign creators, local norms, and the tension between live stream culture and real world communities. So we have to stick with the facts, and we have to be respectful of the country that Adonis is in, because again, he chose to move to that country. He has spoken very highly of the people in Romania and of the Romanian government and the culture of Romania. So this is not the time for people who don't know anything about Romania to start beating up and disrespecting those people. We have to let the process play itself out. What stands out to me is not just the altercation itself, but the ecosystem around it. We're watching a moment where live stream culture collides with real world norms, and where the pressure to perform meets the reality of local law enforcement. And in that collision, dignity often becomes the first casualty. There's a lesson here about composure, not just for creators, but for audiences. We have to resist the urge to turn every incident into a morality play. We have to resist the pressure to pick a side before the facts are in. We have to remember that institutions, Police, prosecutors, courts move on evidence, not on trending clips. So my focus is on the clarity of it and understanding what really happened and not the outrage, and on reminding people that dignity is not just a personal trait, it's a practice, especially when the internet is watching. Now, what it appeared is that the man spit on Adonis. Now, that is the most offensive thing that one human being can do to another. I think it takes a lot of courage to be a live streamer, going out on the street talking to strangers, because an incident like this can happen, just like what happened at the BAFTA Awards. As Black people, we are very sensitive to certain things. Spitting on somebody is like the ultimate offense to a Black American person. So you do have to thread the needle very carefully when you're dealing in a situation like that. But still, you're out there, and I guess you have to prepare for off the wall behavior from people. It's very difficult, and I guess he doesn't have security. And that might be something that he wants to consider going forward, especially if he continues to work in this genre. Now, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, the part of the conversation that people are avoiding. Well, some people may be, but I'm not going to avoid it. Adonis is not just an American abroad. He is a Black American man in a predominantly white foreign country. And that reality shapes how incidents like this are interpreted, investigated, and remembered. Now, I do believe that this is going to be resolved in the right way and in Adonis's favor. However, a lot of Americans, especially Americans who have never traveled, assume that American law is the law everywhere. They assume that self-defense works the same way. They assume that police will interpret events the way American audiences do. They assume that video footage is the final word. And it's definitely not how racial perception works. When you are a foreigner, a visible minority, in a country where you don't control the narrative and the only record is a live stream that locals didn't see, the stakes change. And here's the part that people don't want to admit. What onlookers say they saw can be entirely different from what viewers online saw. Not because anyone is lying, but because perception is shaped by proximity, culture, and bias. A bystander who sees a Black man and a white local arguing may interpret the situation through a completely different lens than someone watching a live stream with context, commentary, and chat reactions. This is why de-escalation matters so much for Black creators abroad. Not because they're wrong, not because they're guilty, but because they don't get the same margin for error. Now, I don't know what Adonis could have done differently, because if somebody pushed me and spit on me, my reaction would be the same as his. So I'm just saying that that's the natural reaction for most people, especially most Black people. But in a foreign country, especially a white majority one, the safest move is often the one that protects your freedom, not your pride. And that's not fair, but it's structural. And I'm not blaming Adonis at all. I think his reaction was very natural. But it's really about acknowledging what you face as a Black creator when you step outside the United States. You are navigating two systems at once: the legal system of the country you're in and the racial perception system that follows you everywhere you go. And we talk about global anti-Blackness on this channel. Still in all, I'm told that 90% of the people of Romania support Adonis. So I still think he's in pretty good shape. I just think that the situation has to play itself out, because remember when A$AP Rocky and those guys got into a fight up in the Netherlands or Sweden or somewhere like that, they actually put hands on those people. A$AP Rocky and his team had to stay incarcerated for quite some time, but it was when Donald Trump was in office before, and Donald Trump eventually got him brought home. So I think the same thing will happen to Adonis. Now I need to back up and clarify something about the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy is not automatically notified when an American is arrested abroad. In most countries, the detained person has to request that notification. And even when the embassy is informed, they cannot intervene in the legal case. They can provide an English-speaking lawyer, monitor your welfare, and provide other resources, which is quite a bit. So this is why understanding local law is critical, especially for Black Americans traveling or creating content overseas. So that is something to keep in mind. Although I do believe that the U.S. Embassy has more weight than they're saying here, but we shall see. Anyway, I will keep you posted. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about the video. Keep warm and have a good evening.